The engine, how expectation becomes reality. Why this matters: underestimating expectancy quietly taxes performance. It steals initiative, narrows your attention, and convinces you the issue is talent when it's actually timing and micro decisions. Do this wrong and you'll chase new tools, new routines, new gurus, while the same hesitation lives under every system. Do this right and you buy speed. You spot useful cues faster, start sooner, and stay long enough to get the signal most people quit before seeing. The thing most people miss is simple. Expectations don't move mountains. They move your milliseconds and your micro questions, and that compounds into outcomes. Here's the engine, 4 links, and we'll keep it concrete. Link 1: expectation. This is the story you run before contact with reality. I'm the kind of person who ships drafts, or I always choke. It sets the default. Not loud hype, just the quiet assumption that loads when the cursor blinks or the meeting starts. Link 2: micro behaviors. Expectation immediately tweaks your small actions. Eye contact during a pitch, latency from decide to start, how directly you ask for what you need, whether you do one more rep after a wobble. These are tiny, measurable, and they shift first. Link 3: outcome cues. Micro behaviors change what you notice and what you collect. Faster starts create more attempts. Better questions surface clearer feedback. Persistence turns near misses into data you can use instead of reasons to stop. Link 4: belief reinforcement. Those cues loop back and harden the expectation. A few quick wins, or even visible near wins, become proof. That proof then lowers future friction and keeps the cycle going. Now examples you can feel. Take eye contact. If you expect a cold response, you glance away, your tone drops, and the other person mirrors you. You read their flatness as proof you were right. If you expect a fair shot, you hold steady 2 seconds longer, ask a clearer opening question, and their response improves just enough to keep you engaged. Same person, different micro behaviors, different cues. Latency to act. High expectancy people click call within 5 seconds of deciding. Low expectancy people reread notes, check one more thing, and the window for momentum closes. That 5 seconds turns into fewer reps per day and less feedback this week. Multiply that by 30 days and you're living in different universes of experience. Question quality. Why am I bad at this? Sends you on a scavenger hunt for flaws. What would prove one notch of progress? Gives you a target, a rep count, and a plan. One question changes your next step from avoidance to action. Persistence after setbacks. Expectation doesn't erase pain or failure, it directs your attributions. With the right baseline, a miss becomes friction to remove. Tighten the opener, reduce first step friction, try again in 15 minutes. With the wrong baseline, a miss becomes identity. See, this isn't me. Let me show you exactly how this plays out in studying. 2 students, same exam, same 2 hours. Student A runs, I improve 1% per rep. They chunk material into 10-question sets, start immediately, time box 12-minute sprints, and log accuracy plus latency to restart after a wrong answer. Misses trigger a recovery line. When I stall, I do one ugly rep. They finish 6 rounds, accuracy climbs, and they leave with proof, counts, latency, and a visible rise. Student B runs, I'm bad at this. They read summaries, highlight passively, avoid testing because it might confirm the fear, and check messages after every wobble. They leave with the same 2 hours spent but 0 cues that reinforce capability. One expectation changed micro behaviors, which changed cues, which hardened belief. Now common mistakes. First, confusing affirmations with expectancy calibration. Saying I'm the best without a behavior map is cotton candy. You need if-then defaults that bind the belief to action. When I hesitate, I start the 2-minute version. Second, ignoring lag time between expectation and signal. Early reps often feel flat because systems take a few cycles to echo back data. If you bail before the echo, you'll swear it didn't work when you just didn't finish the feedback loop. Here's a quick win you can do this week. Run a 7-day micro behavior inventory. Each day, track 4 items for one target domain. Initiative count, how many first moves you made. Follow-up count, how many clean follow-throughs. Latency to restart after a setback, and recovery quality. Did your next action shrink the problem or just soothe the feeling? Don't judge, just count. After 7 days, you'll see exactly where expectancy leaks. Hesitation at the start, avoidance in the middle, or collapse after misses. 2 pro tips while you track. 1. Tie counts to cues you already open, calendar events, task app, or a sticky note on your keyboard, so logging has near zero friction. 2. Add a simple green-red marker. Green if you converted hesitation to action within 2 minutes, red if you didn't. That binary makes patterns obvious. Once you see the loop, you can tune it. Raise expectation by installing identity lines that connect directly to micro-behaviors. Reduce latency with if-then scripts. Upgrade question quality so every session produces a proof queue. And plan for the lag. Set a minimum number of proof cycles before you evaluate. Now you're running expectancy like a system, not a slogan. Why manifestation fails most people. Now here's where most people mess up. They declare a shiny outcome, 6 figures, fluent Spanish, elite fitness, but they never build the behavior bridge. They visualize the mountaintop and skip the switchbacks. Without cues and proofs, the brain treats the goal like entertainment, not instruction. You get a short dopamine hit from imagining success, then nothing changes because your micro-behaviors never received a clear job. The second failure is self-threat. Goals that are too big too soon trigger protective avoidance. Your nervous system reads "publish a book this month" as a status risk, so you research for hours, postpone choices, and convince yourself the timing isn't right. You feel busy while your proof ledger stays empty. That's not laziness, it's an overactive safety protocol. The third failure is outcome-only journaling. Writing, "I will be confident," or "I'm manifesting clients" feels productive, but it doesn't specify actions or evidence. It's like writing a weather report for a city you've never visited. You need signal design, not slogans. So what's the better method? Expectation scaffolding. You don't jump to "I'm unstoppable." You build a ladder of small, undeniable proofs at the edge of your competence. The expectation becomes, when I run this play, I get this signal. That's specific enough for your brain to cooperate and small enough to avoid threat. Here's the technique that locks it in: goal fracturing. Take any outcome and break it into 5 parts: outcome, process, reps, cues, evidence. Outcome, one clear result that matters, framed simply. Process, the small loop that actually produces it. Reps, how many loops you'll run per day or week. Cues, the triggers that start the loop automatically. Evidence, the visible proof you'll collect, even if you fall short. Let me show you exactly how. Outcome, land 3 new clients in 8 weeks. Process, daily prospecting sprints and weekly offers. Reps, 2 15-minute outreach sprints per weekday, 1 offer shipped every Friday. Cues, after first coffee, open the prospect list. Calendar stub labeled offer draft 30 every Wednesday. Evidence, outreach count, response count, offer shipped screenshot. Notice it's impossible to do this and not produce reinforcing cues. The game changer nobody talks about is evidence journaling. Instead of writing how you feel about progress, you count the proofs of progress. That teaches your brain the real pattern. Actions create signals, and signals upgrade belief. This is how you sidestep "I'm faking it" and build "I do it." Common trap to avoid: outcome inflation without process density. People stack 5 goals, sprinkle thin effort across all of them, and get no momentum anywhere. You need thickness, multiple reps in one domain to generate enough signal to move expectancy. Thin reps starve belief. All right, quick win time. Write 1 outcome for the next 2 weeks. Under it, list 3 visible behaviors that produce it. Add 1 daily cue that starts the first behavior. Add 1 measurable proof you'll collect. Read it out loud once in the morning, then run the first 2-minute version immediately. That first action is your contamination check. If you can't start the tiny version, the goal is either too vague or too threatening. Shrink scope or increase clarity until the 2-minute starter is frictionless. Now you might be thinking, won't this take too long? Actually, here's the shortcut nobody teaches. Compression beats intensity. When you compress the loop, clear cue, small rep, fast evidence, you can repeat it daily without drama. Repetition is what sensitizes your attention to the right cues and desensitizes you to tiny failures. That's how expectancy becomes your default. One more nuance. Expectation doesn't mean pretending there's no risk. It means installing a recovery default so risk doesn't derail you. Build a micro-identity like, when I stall, I do one ugly rep and tie it to a cue. That keeps the loop alive on bad days and prevents nocebo thinking from taking root. If you remember nothing else, remember this: evidence beats affirmation. You don't manifest outcomes. You manifest behaviors that manufacture signals, and the signals train your belief. Once the belief is trained, latency drops, persistence increases, and the loop starts paying compound interest. Now that we've replaced fake manifestation with a measurable method, let's stack the priming used by elite teams to set expectations before the action even starts. Expectation priming, the CIA-style preparation stack. Here's why elite orgs obsess over priming. Performance under pressure is mostly prepared, not improvised. Before action, they pre-brief, rehearse scenarios, and discipline language to load a specific expectation into the system. That expectation isn't hype. It's a map of what to do when things inevitably go sideways. You can steal the structure and use it on any project, pitch, exam, or workout. The stack has 6 parts: context, identity, constraints, contingencies, signals, and a debrief loop. Think of it as preloading your nervous system with when-then rules so your micro-behaviors fire on time. Context: you start by defining the arena and the mission in one sentence. What are you doing, for whom, and why now? This narrows attention and kills vague fear. Example: I'm running 2 outreach sprints to book 5 discovery calls for my Q2 product test. Now you're in a mission, not wandering in do better land. Identity: set your default line, the role you'll inhabit. Not I'm a legend, just a behavior-bound identity that dictates how you open. Try, I'm the person who ships drafts and asks for clear next steps. This primes your first move and frames your tone. The thing most people miss is that identity should specify an action, not a trait. Constraints: pros don't prime fantasies, they prime reality. List the likely obstacles: time limits, noisy environments, skeptical audiences, tech friction. By naming constraints, you drain their surprise. You're not visualizing perfection, you're rehearsing friction. Keep it tight. Expect 2 no replies per 10 messages and 1 tough objection. Contingencies: this is the muscle. Write if-then triggers for the top 3 disruptions. When I get a no, I send the short follow-up script. When the room goes quiet, I ask the calibration question: what would make this valuable right now? When I stall, I run 1 ugly rep within 2 minutes. Now your expectation is executable under stress. Signals: decide what counts as progress and when you'll check it. 2 types: green signals, keep going, and red signals, adapt. Green might be 10% reply rate by Friday. Red might be below 5% after 30 messages, switch opener. Signals prevent you from riding vibes, they anchor your expectation to data. Debrief loop: schedule the after-action review before you start. 10 minutes same day. 3 prompts: facts, friction, fix. What happened numerically? Where did friction hit? What micro-upgrade do you install before the next rep? Debriefs are where expectancy hardens, because you convert experience into improved if-then rules. Let me give you a pre-brief script you can read out loud in 90 seconds. Context: today from 9 to 10, I'm running 2 20-minute outreach sprints to book 5 discovery calls for my Q2 test. Identity: I default to clear asks and fast follow-ups. Constraints: expect silence on most messages, 1 tough objection, and mild tech lag. Contingencies: when I get silence, I send the 48-hour nudge. When I get an objection, I ask the relevance check: is X still a priority this quarter? When I stall, I do 1 ugly rep. Signals, green, 1 booking per 20 messages. Red, below 5% replies, swap opener B debrief. 10 minutes at 10:05, facts, friction, fix. Language rules matter here. Swap uncertainty verbs for implementation verbs. When X, then I do, Y beats I'll try, I hope, or maybe. Remove leaky adverbs, quickly, seriously, carefully, don't specify actions. Replace with explicit counts or seconds, send within 120 seconds, ask 2 questions, ship 1 draft. The reason this works is simple, language encodes expectancy. Sloppy phrasing injects doubt, crisp phrasing programs micro-behaviors. Micro-story, a student running cold email had been trying to be proactive with mixed results. We installed an identity line, and the person who sends 2 asks before noon, and a contingency. When no reply in 48 hours, send the value forward bump. In a week, reply rates doubled. Nothing mystical changed. Expectation moved latency and follow-up quality. Now here's the mistake zone. Overpriming fantasy without constraints makes you fragile. If your script assumes perfect conditions, the first wobble collapses expectancy. Also, if you skip contingencies, you'll hesitate at the exact moments you primed confidence for. Pre-briefs without if, then plans are pep talks wearing uniforms. Let me show you how to practice this fast. Pick 1 mission for tomorrow. Write a 1-page pre-brief using the stack. Speak it out loud right before you start. Run 1 proof cycle. Then debrief with facts, friction, fix. Version your script for the next day. In 3 cycles, you'll feel latency drop and your questions get sharper. 1 more lever, scenario rehearsal. Spend 5 minutes imagining the top 2 disruptions and watching yourself run the contingency line. Not everything goes great, but the projector dies and I open with the whiteboard version, or the interviewer pushes back and I ask for criteria. This trains your attention to recognize the cue and fires the behavior on time. Finally, keep priming ethically. The goal is accurate, action-bound expectancy, not delusion or pressure. Don't promise outcomes outside your control. Promise behaviors inside your control and the signals you'll respect. When you lead teams, use the same stack but add consent. Agree on standards, support, and signals before the push. That's how expectations boost performance without breeding burnout. Install the stack, run it small, and let the data teach your belief. Once this becomes your default, you won't feel ready. You'll be ready enough to move, which is the only readiness that compounds. Social Pygmalion, how others' beliefs shape your results. Once you nail your own priming, this next part separates beginners from pros. Expectations multiply in social space. The reason is simple, humans mirror. We read each other's cues in milliseconds, then adjust effort, risk-taking, and self-concept to fit the perceived standard. If your boss expects you to ship rough drafts for feedback, you take earlier risks. If your partner expects you to always forget, you double-check less because the label stole your incentive. The thing most people miss is that other people's beliefs quietly edit your micro-behaviors before you notice. Let's break it down. 4 main sources shape your expectancy. The person with authority over outcomes, boss, teacher, coach. The person with proximity to your emotions, partner, close friend. Your peer group, the norm you copy. And your audience, the feedback you anticipate. Each source broadcasts standards and signals, clear or fuzzy. Clear standards reduce ambiguity, which lowers latency and increases persistence. Fuzzy standards create defensive behavior. You over-explain, hedge, and wait for permission. Here's how to make this work for you. Create expectation contracts. Not legalese, 1-page conversations that agree on 3 things: the standard, the support, and the signal. You ask, what does excellent look like in behaviors, not vibes? Then, what will you provide so I can hit that? Constraints, resources, timely feedback. Finally, what signals will tell us we're on track or off? This resets the social loop from mind reading to measurable. Try this belief transfer script with a manager or client. I want to hold a high standard here. Can we define excellence as 3 visible behaviors for this project? For example, Ship a draft every Friday, request 2 clarifications per week, and run a 5-minute post-review debrief. If I do those reliably, will you commit to a 24-hour response and concrete notes, not general impressions? Green signal is meeting the Friday draft and getting line edits. Red signal is 2 missed responses in a row, and I'll escalate or adjust scope. Notice what happened. You took initiative, set your identity as a process person, and asked for reciprocal expectancy so your micro behaviors get rewarded, not ignored. Now peers, your group's default becomes your ceiling or your floor. If your circle treats ghosting workouts as normal, you'll unconsciously extend your latency. If the norm is ugly reps count, you'll show up on bad days. You don't need to ditch friends, you need a standards lane. Propose a 30-minute weekly proof call with one peer who shares your domain. Agenda, evidence only, counts, latency, quality markers, no vibe spirals. This keeps social Pygmalion tilted toward action. At home, use consent-based standards. The trap is weaponized expectations. You always, or you should, that breeds reactance. Instead, here's a standard I want to run for myself: 2 tech-free dinners a week. If I miss, I'll do the dishes solo as a reset. Are you into co-own this, or would you prefer a different ritual? Consent keeps expectations supportive, not coercive. You also need protection from negative Pygmalion. 3 moves. First, label quarantine. When someone drops a limiting label, you're not detail-oriented. Translate it into a behavior request. Which detail did I miss and what checklist would solve it? Second, exposure control. Limit time with chronic doomers during execution windows. Debrief with them after the proof cycle, not before. Third, mentor selection. Pick proof-based mentors who review artifacts and ask about your process, not your personality. Micro story. Last week, a designer I coach kept getting make it pop feedback. That fuzzy expectation killed her confidence and led to endless revisions. We ran an expectation contract with the creative director. 3 behaviors, provide 2 visual comps by Wednesday, include rationale notes, and propose 1 A/B test. Green signal, selection by Friday. Red signal, no selection twice, schedule a calibration meeting. 2 weeks later, cycle times dropped and her initiative came back. The difference? Social expectations got converted into signals. Common mistakes to avoid. 1. Fishing for praise instead of standards. You get compliments but no map. 2. Accepting trait-based labels. Genius. Messy. They're unhelpful anchors. Convert traits to behaviors. 3. Overcorrecting by going lone wolf. Social loops still exist. You just lost influence over them. Quick win for this week. Pick 1 relationship that shapes your results. Book a 15-minute standards reset. Use this opener. I want to hit a higher bar and make your job easier. Can we define 3 behaviors that equal an A here and agree on when and how you'll signal green or red? I'll send a 1-page summary after. Then run 1 proof cycle under the new contract and debrief together using facts, friction, and fix. Do this right and others, expectations become accelerants, not anchors. Your environment starts feeding you the cues you need to move faster, recover quicker, and believe what you can prove. The anti-Pygmalion, Nocebo, labels, and self-sabotage. Now the dark twin. Negative expectancy, Nocebo, doesn't just feel bad, it quietly lowers your thresholds for effort, exploration, and pain tolerance. In medicine, negative expectations can increase pain and reduce treatment effectiveness. In everyday performance, they shrink your action set. If you believe reaching out annoys people, your tone dulls, your latency spikes, replies drop, and you read that as proof you should do even less. The loop runs backward. Expectation, right arrow micro avoidances, right arrow worse cues, hardened doubt. Where does negative expectancy come from? 4 main sources. 1. Self-talk shaped by past failures. You internalize a result and promote it to identity. I'm not a closer. 2. Authority labels, teachers, bosses, experts, whose words you treat as fake, not leadership material. 3. Chronic comparison, scrolling the outliers until your floor collapses. 4. Context repetition, environments that cue avoidance, like a cluttered desk recalling previous misses. None of these are destiny, they're inputs that trained your micro-behaviors. Here's the fix: label surgery. You're going to identify, deconstruct, and replace identity labels with behavior-bound identities that you can prove. Start with a scan. Write the 3 labels that show up under stress, what you mutter after a miss. Examples: I'm disorganized, I'm introverted, I'm bad at money. Now deconstruct each. Ask, what specific behaviors created that label? In which contexts? What exceptions exist? You'll find your always and never are actually sometimes in that setup. Then replace the label with a behavior identity tied to micro-actions. Instead of I'm disorganized, run I'm the person who closes loops before noon. That identity encodes a time window and a verb. Instead of I'm introverted, use I open with one genuine question in the first minute. Instead of I'm bad at money, try I run a 10-minute cash check on Fridays. You're not erasing temperament, you're claiming the behaviors that matter. To protect momentum, add floor-ceiling framing. Floors are non-negotiable minimums that prevent identity collapse on bad days. Ceilings are challenging maximums that stretch competence without triggering threat. Example for writing: floor is 1 ugly paragraph, ceiling is 600 focused words. For outreach, floor is 2 asks, ceiling is 20. Floors keep you active, ceilings keep you ambitious without boiling your nervous system. The reason this works is that behavior distributions train your expectation through consistency, not occasional heroics. Common mistake: identity whiplash. People jump from I procrastinate to I'm a machine, then crash when reality doesn't match the fantasy. The fix is stepping stone identities, tiny bridges that your behavior can cross in a week. Sequence them. Week 1, I start within 2 minutes using the 2-minute starter. Week 2, I ship 1 draft daily before noon. Week 3, I request 1 line edit per draft. Each identity is proven by evidence. Proof upgrades belief, not declarations. Let me show you how this looks in a tough domain: public speaking anxiety. Old label: I choke. Surgery: where did that come from? 1 messy presentation and years of avoiding reps. Exceptions: you explained a design to a teammate last month and it landed. Replacement identity: I open with 1 calibration question and 1 story beat. Floor ceiling: floor is 90 seconds at stand-up with opener. Ceiling is 5-minute share with 1 slide. Contingency: when my heart rate spikes, I read the opener from the card and keep eye contact for 2 beats. Run 5 small reps. Log latency, duration, and 1 audience cue. Watch expectancy lift as you bank proof. Another trap to avoid: treating negative labels as truth-telling. Realism doesn't mean self-injury. The useful form of realism is constraint-aware behavior planning. Say, mornings are chaotic with kids, so my writing floor moves to 1 p.m. and I pre-open the doc at 12:50. You acknowledged constraints without poisoning identity. Here's a quick win you can do today. Write 3 retire this label lines. I retire I'm disorganized. I retire I'm not technical. I retire I'm bad under pressure. Then write 1 replacement identity and install a proof ritual. I'm the person who closes loops before noon. Proof: 10-minute inbox 0 sprint at 11:40. I'm the person who learns 1 command per day. Proof: terminal practice for 3 minutes after lunch. I'm the person who defaults to my opener under stress. Proof: card on desk. Rehearse once at 8:55. Put the lines where you execute on your keyboard, inside your notebook, or as the first line of your daily doc. Micro story: a founder I coach wore the label I'm bad at hiring. Translation: rushed interviews, vague scorecards, and late offers. We did label surgery. Replacement identity: I run a 2-signal interview, work sample and reference pattern. Floor ceiling: floor is 1 work sample per candidate. Ceiling is 3 references with the same 3 questions. Within 1 month, mishires dropped. Nothing magical, negative expectancy stopped hijacking behavior, and proof upgraded belief. If you remember nothing else from this section, remember this: labels are levers. Pull the right ones and your micro-behaviors change first, then your cues, then your belief. Pull the wrong ones and you'll collect evidence for a story you don't want. Do the surgery. Set floors and ceilings. Install proof rituals.